Welcome to Getting Back Up, where grief meets growth.
Two men, two fathers, and one shared journey of rebuilding.
We're talking about life after cancer, love, loss, and everything no one tells you.
How you doing? I'm Jamal Jones.
And I'm David McClain. We welcome you to another episode of Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death. Jamal, there's a moment in this journey where survival, it isn't a question anymore. It's now what?
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah.
Who am I? And what life do I still have? That question kind of really comes up.
Yeah, because you're when you start this journey, if you think about it, like you're just surviving day to day, right? Like you are literally just trying to figure out, how do I wake up in the morning?
Yeah.
How do I get out the bed? How do I get the kids dressed and start the day? And, there are moments where just that surviving, it actually gets to the point where it actually feels, more empty than anything.
And that's where a lot of widowers and widows really get stuck, because they don't want more, don't know how much more they want. And it's more about this, how do I live without feeling guilty?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about the guilty. Again, it's the anchor, right? It's around your ankle sometimes. But yeah, you struggle with the guilt and letting in more, and also understanding what does more look like in a world where your life has been turned upside down, right? Everything has completely changed. And I think that's definitely what, when you think about like all the plans you made in your life up until the point when your late partner passes away, or your family member, whatever, like everything has changed. Just that version of who you were and what that life was going to be, it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the episode where we're really talking about moving on.
Yeah.
We've talked about that to this point, I should say. And so now it's to the point where we're talking about rebuilding purpose.
Right. Yeah, because we all have purpose. We all want to find passion. There's everything. We all function. We always, so many people talk about it. What's your purpose in life? What's my purpose? What am I passionate about? But when you lose something of this capacity, it's almost a complete reset, right? Like you've built so much of who you are and what you're going to do around a person or a lifestyle or a kind of dynamic, and now you're getting to a point where like all of that feels distant. Everything that you did before feels distant. It all feels something you're completely disconnected to, and now you're almost having to reinvent yourself.
It's where do you move from grief to growth?
Or just living again.
Yeah. And just doing it in a way that honors who you lost.
Yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't keep you from finding that purpose and becoming, finding happiness, but it doesn't keep you and kind of prevent you from finding out who you are again and what are the things that motivate you. Like that has to be part of the process of, again, getting back up and kind of turning that page.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's the reality. It's the challenge. So
let's get into it. I suppose.
I guess who's gonna, you want me to start? I guess.
Well, yeah. So how, what drives you forward at this point, Jamal? What is it? What number of things is it at this point?
So I think the thing that I started with, right? Because again, my world exploded, in the sense of all the things that I thought was going to happen, all of these plans that I was making or wanted to make, all these plans that we were making for the family, it all kind of exploded, and it was already starting to change, right? I was already, again, kind of going back to what we talk about, like not every marriage when you go through this is perfect, right? Some of them are great. Some of them are kind of dealing with their struggles. So I was already, before even, Janice even got sick, I already started thinking about like, well, what will restarting look like for me if we got divorced, right? If our family unit changed. I imagine that at some point. But then that all kind of went out the window when Janice got sick. So there was already kind of this vision in my head of like, I'm going to have to restart. But when she got sick, it was kind of like pause, reset. Like you totally forget about that. And you're focused on like getting your family through this experience. For me, when it was time to, figure that out, and where I struggled with finding the passion, the purpose, I honestly grounded myself in the kids, right? I grounded myself in making sure that, the first step for me was making sure that they were okay and that I was available to them as much as I needed to be, as much as I could be. And part of it was supporting them through their grieving process, making sure that they were sane and they were okay mentally, and finding healthy ways to grieve. And I was supporting that as best as possible. And that was important to me because I think, again, so much of that in their safety was, it's the critical when you're a single dad or a single mom, single parent, like that is the most important thing at that moment, is like getting them through the day. And I think that helped me to also make sure that I'm also maintaining my own health, my own mental health, my own emotional health. So I would say if my purpose became my health, their health.
Yeah.
In that order, right? Like I can't help them be healthy mentally or physically if I'm not healthy mentally and physically. Yeah. And I would say, like, honestly, like we talked about like taking the walks. I was like working out like 5-6 times a week, in the gym, going on runs. I think I was probably, got to a point where I argued I was probably the best shape of my life. Physically, maybe not necessarily mentally, because I was still dealing with kind of the elements of grief. I think that was part of it. And then another part of it was with the kids, just kind of creating memories, right? Like allowing them to look back at past memories, but also as we turn this new page, I thought a lot about what are they going to remember me for at some point. At some point, I'm not going to be here.
Right.
And I want them to be able to take these memories. And I was very intentional about like pictures and moments and, experiences, and trying to do more things with them. And it's hard. Like, now we have kids that are teenagers. My oldest at the time was a teen. Tahir, my stepson, he was living in Jersey at the time. So I'm trying to like, do this with a teenager. It was easy with Zaya because she was, 7, 8 at the time. And she was like, okay, being right by my side. Jackie was more like she was in high school and kind of doing her own thing, but I still try to hold on to these memories and create memories and vacations and things like that was important.
Even during that time, let me ask, were you also thinking about, you were looking back, assessing, evaluating the relationship that you were in and thinking already then, I'm not going to do that as I move forward? Were you already starting to think about that?
Yeah. And then when I think about that, so that was another part.
Because some you can control and some you
can't control. Right.
What baggage we all bring into these relationships.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was the other part. So the first was like grounding myself in like my purpose is the kids' health, my health. I need to be a healthy father and a healthy man so that I can be strong for my kids. I need to be a healthy man, health-wise, physically, and mentally, so that I evolve into a relationship. If I decide to move forward, I'm also in a better place in the context of like how I can appreciate, embrace, and allow love.
Yes.
That was an important part because, again, coming from a marriage that wasn't the best, right? For different reasons, again, on both sides, right? Like it was also me saying, I've got to make sure I repair myself, that I fix my issues and deal with my issues and like where they come from, which they're like, so like understanding like my capacity to truly grow and love was important. And I think, now that I think about my marriage to Jordan, it's like, it's a continuous process. I'm still evolving. I'm still learning. I'm still learning about my triggers. I'm still realizing where grief conflicts with, in certain cases with my own development, right?
And grief with growth.
Whether exactly.
It stops or you heal and continue.
Yeah.
Dealing with the past, but then also dealing with the present, because your now wife, she has her
she's got her triggers. Exactly.
And mourning of what she had in her prior relationship too.
Right.
Oh, is this going to happen again here?
Right.
So it's, you all are coming together.
Yeah.
Your growth is her growth too.
Exactly. So that was one part. And then when I think about friendships that was another thing. So I think about like another part of my purpose became doing my best to hone in and strengthen the relationships that I had. I became a much better friend. Part of it was because of how much my friends supported me through the process, but also from the context of vulnerability and, you know, just what I was willing to share with them and open up so that they could share with me. I feel like I tried my best to become a better friend because I remembered really appreciating the people who were great friends during that process. And some of them didn't even realize how meaningful the things that they were doing, how meaningful it was or how important it was. So I looked at that and said, wow, like there's these elements of friendship that I could be better at. There's these elements of friendship that I want more of, right, from my support system. And I need to do that so that I'm better as a support system. I think those are two pieces, you know, that I think, you know, when you talk about the relationships in my life, that was important. Finding passionate work, you know, I think it's always like hard because you pursue your career path. You start off early years in your career, you're taking the job that you can get, right, in many ways. And then as you get older, you start understanding this element of passion in career. And I think for me, it was probably amplified because I was seeking so many elements of joy in my life and so much different levels of fulfillment that was something that I was very thoughtful about. Like I got to a place where, you know, well, how do I find passion at work? How do I find passion in what I do? And how do I find passion and joy in the people that I work with? Like, I don't want to be, like, I was very intentional. I don't want to work for a manager who I can't tolerate and who can't tolerate me. Not to say we have to be best friends, but I want to be motivated by my leader. I want to be motivated by the team that I work with, right?
Do you think on the career side that your sense of passion was dulled or changed and redefined?
I think it was redefined. Again, I had a great team.
Okay.
Who and a great team at the time. I was, you know, when Janice was sick through the point that she passed, my team was amazing, right? Like they were awesome. And what we did, the work that we did, you know, I always joke that, like, you know, we're not saving babies, but it was fun. And it was fun because of the people. Right, like you could have put anything there, any task, any project, but it was fun because of the people, and I think that was something that was really important to me. But when you think about passion and how does this all come together, how's it? Purpose was I was very purposeful about working with people who I enjoy working with and I get along with and I can have fun with. That was something that I continue to really seek and make sure I try to have in my career. Purpose or passion is different though, right? Because now I'm getting to the point in my career where, like, man, I want to do stuff that I'm passionate about. And this is one, right? The
just in life,
experience. Yeah, life experiences, being able
beyond the job. But
just and one of the things that I became passionate about was like helping people.
Yeah.
Right. Like just if I saw a friend who was dealing with something, like I became like, let's talk about it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you dealing with? Like, tell me about it. Like, I really wanted to tune in. And, you know, even when we first met in our journey, in our discussion, I was
totally example of that.
Yeah. I mean, that, like, the passion was like, man, I want to help people.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you and I both experienced men, and in particular in our lives, who took their own lives, committed suicide because they were dealing with depression or dealing with just something that they didn't talk about. And that was for me. It became a passion that I was very like intentional about. Like, no, we gonna talk about it. What you got going on?
Yeah,
tell me what you got going on. Let's talk. And trying to crack that open for people to let them realize, listen, if you don't talk, I'm gonna talk. So I'm gonna lead by example until you start talking. Right. And I think that was something that was important for me. So now as I think about it, it's just really like, you know, whatever that is, whatever that thing that brings me joy is, I'm running to it and not from it.
Yeah, that is definitely, I've witnessed it. I'm also a benefactor of that because that's how you and I are to each other.
Right.
You coming to me, hey, let's talk about this. And so that's where we are. That's where we are today.
Yeah.
Because you were intentional about the passion of helping people. So yeah.
So I mean, that to me, I think it was just like, finding ways to use my experiences in life, good, bad,
Yeah.
or indifferent. Great kids, great mother of my children, now great wife, people who are dealing with their own experiences in life and just being okay connecting.
Mm-hmm.
That actually became something that I became passionate about. Like being able to really, how do I take what I've done, what I've experienced in life, and like setting the table, so to speak, so that people feel welcome and okay sharing and talking about their experience.
Yes.
And so we can learn from each other, so we can help each other.
Because it's all common.
It's all common
To all of us,
Yeah.
all of these challenges. Yeah.
So that was for me. That was it for me, man. I don't like I'm passionate about painting. No, it's more, and if that's it, that's fine.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, like, so I mean, for you, like, what has been your experience? And
I think in particular, it was continuing the development of our children that Nalani, my late wife,
Mhm.
and I started. To ensure that they are as well-rounded. Now this huge chapter in their life, traumatic, has happened. Okay, let's put everybody back together, including myself.
Yeah.
And so I think it was definitely that. So Nalani had said often to me jokingly, I only got married so I could have children.
Right.
I'm like, great.
Mm-hmm.
So
biologically, that's pretty much it.
yeah, right. She was like, I wouldn't have gotten married. I was like, all right, great, Nalani. So it was somewhat of a joke, but I think she was very serious at the same time. But serious in the sense too of getting married is, I think she wanted to stay married because the example she had seen was divorce with her own parents. So the reason was in getting married and having the kids, is adding another example that is of a healthy union, of how people stay together through different challenges.
Yeah.
And work through the healthy union, not the ravages of a loveless marriage to whatever extent that she witnessed.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point, because I think you can go into a situation and repeat it.
That's correct.
Or you can reject it and do something totally different.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's
right.
Yeah.
Right. So that, I think, was very in frame for her, and certainly I embrace, because my parents divorced.
Right.
And then, as I mentioned, my mother met the cowboy.
Tiny.
The name up there, William H. Gooden Sr., that y'all see in the background here.
Yeah. AKA Tiny, but he was.
AKA Tiny, but of course he's big dude.
Yeah.
And whatever. And shoots guns and ride horses. Actually, he was in rodeos and the whole thing.
Nice.
It's an interesting story, actually. Really funny stories, actually. So I think it was this legacy Nalani wanted to either change or alter that. No. People can have a healthy union. A man and woman can love one another and openly show that. And then it also feeds down to the children, because then they too have a good start when they go places. It's almost like, we don't cover generational wealth, but starting your children off with, they don't have to pay for school.
Right.
They don't have debt.
Right.
Going into that they're going to maybe not pay back from whatever their positions are.
Right.
It's kind of that same thing. It's you're paying down on that person's future.
Right.
And that's what Nalani was doing, from the representation of these two healthy people in a healthy relationship who maybe have challenges, but they work through it because they love enough and love those children, and the children are watching. So you're modeling.
Yeah.
So I think that's very much part of what really drives me forward. The other thing is just this sense of giving and receiving love. I have so much more. It doesn't stop when Nalani passed. That's who I was coming into the marriage, who we were in the marriage, and all these different people and meaningful friends that we have in our lives.
Right.
That you and I talk about a lot when we're on talking here in our episodes on this podcast.
Yeah.
And just have another meaningful relationship again.
Right.
There's so much that I have learned from not only the women in my life, who I talk about all the time, my mother, Nalani, play aunties, but the men too.
Right.
Uncle Marlon, who's again with us here today.
Yeah.
You, my man Sheldon, my best friend. There are all these different people in the world who have given me so much, and we laugh and we get through the peaks and valleys.
Yeah, I mean, we're all modeling for
Yeah.
each other, right? I mean, it's to your point. I have like some of my best friends are, friends who've been married to their spouses for going to 20 years, and some who are, in second marriages or whatever. And we're all modeling for each other. We're all looking at each other and learning. And even better is if we're talking about these things, not
Yes.
just watching peripherally at how do they stay married? They seem happy, or they seem to weather these life's challenges
Right.
okay. Or why did he, get divorced so soon? Or why did she get divorced so soon?
Right.
Like, if we're not having these conversations, like, that's the part, like, that's where our relationships deepen.
Right. For sure. And talk about the joy and the pain.
Right.
Because it's easy to talk about the joy.
Oh, yeah.
And people may see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying give every gory detail.
Right.
That's not what we're saying.
Right.
It's we can learn from, because again, the theme we talk about, Jamal, it's all common to all of us.
Yeah.
So you might as well work it on now.
Yep.
Maybe somebody is going to preserve or enhance a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or further deepen that love and connection
Right.
that people are looking toward one another and not away.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's also this moving forward, what drives me forward. And I think the last thing for me is exactly what you talked about, helping other people,
Yeah.
is bringing together this grief diaspora of people. That's why we reach out in this platform
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Yeah.
That's why we're looking at widower retreats.
Yeah.
That's why we're going more and more on social and just getting that message out, so that everyone is going through this, and we all need to have, in a nurturing space,
Yeah.
a place to kind of work through all of this.
Yeah.
So-
I don't know about you. And it's interesting, like, that we did this exercise kind of separately, and like we did, choreograph our three, but they're so aligned.
Yeah.
But then the last one of like what the passion is. I don't know if this is the case for you, but I know after I got to a point where I can embrace my loss,
Yeah.
embrace the grief process, I know there was a part of me that was almost magnetically drawn to people who were grieving. Like, oh, I know this. Let me go help. And
Yeah.
and it was almost, I call it, I tell the kids all the time, like there's a superpower that you get from this, and it's empathy.
Yeah.
Right. At least at the minimum, it's empathy. And I know for me, when I think about like the passion to help people, the passion to lean in and kind of go out. Like sometimes I have to kind of hesitate. Like if I hear that somebody, has lost or somebody's going through something, but I don't really know them well. Let me not text them.
Yeah.
Or somebody posts
You know,
stuff.
they're going to receive it.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to receive
Yeah.
it or where they're going to be.
Yeah.
But it is true. It's like, we have to, like, hopefully we're in a place where we can, make our passions and our purpose
Our mission.
our missions.
Yeah, I think so. So let's talk about finding your way again. Just to give some people some themes that we kind of brought together. And I think the first one is that this purpose doesn't die.
Yeah.
It gets disrupted with grief and loss.
Yeah.
As it is. So loss will not erase who you are. You all have heard this from us again, but these are fundamentally always going to be a through line through this whole process all the time. And so loss doesn't erase who you are. May disorient you for a little bit, but your identity goes on. It's really untethered. It's not, we talked about before, Jamal, when we were talking about, am I a widower or a single dad? Well, I think the two are the same. One then moved into another phase, and then you still can remarry,
Right.
but you're still fundamentally
The same person.
the same person.
Yeah.
You were that single person who looked at life a certain way. You were a widower that also valued life in a different way.
Yeah.
And so really all of this through this, the purpose not dying is the work is rediscovery.
Yeah.
It's not reinvention.
Right.
That's
Right.
it's looking at it in a different way, reworking it in that reinvention of, okay, what does it look like now? Because you've got to be different after everything.
Yeah, and that's a good transition to the next one, right? Because you are different. You're not a different person, but you are different.
Right.
Like how you process information, how you process emotions, how you process the things in the world and the environment around you. It's going to change, right? But it doesn't fundamentally change, to your point, who you are at the core. But, I think, the other part, like, you don't necessarily find purpose because you've always had it. It's you rebuild it. Yeah, you rebuild it. Like, my kids are still important. They were important.
That's right.
Before Janice passed.
Yeah.
They're still important.
Yeah.
I'm how I've refined and rebuilt these things in these ways that I want to kind of lean into with their lives, how I help them through life is different, right? The part where you are waiting to feel ready, like that can keep you stuck, right? Like if you sit there and you're like, oh, like what do I do now? Or like it's there, like these things are there. Your ability to focus on your kids, your ability to find relations and lean to, it's all there. And if you wait for kind of the light, so to speak, or the trigger or the chime that wakes you up one day, like you're going to be stuck for a long time. You've got to get up and start kind of that rebuilding process to find that purpose. And it comes from small steps, but just consistent steps. Like you've got to start the building process. We talk about getting back up, but you also like, you can't, you got to do it by little simple movements, one at a time. And again, those motions, those movements, they start being more and more, they get to a point where they create more meaning for you, right? Like they collectively, each motion feels like it's now part of something. Each thing you do feels like it's part of a bigger thing. I think that's the way. Like otherwise, if you stay still, you kind of keep stepping backwards through this process, like you're never going to find that purpose. You're never going to re-find it.
Right.
Like, because it's already there.
And then there's this sense of depression in that situation, maybe that needs to maybe be addressed. You're staying that way. The other theme also in this kind of finding your why again is at first passion feels wrong because maybe it feels selfish to some degree.
And passion sometimes it makes you feel happy.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't think you should be.
Right. And you feel guilty about that. And so it's going to feel kind of wrong before it really feels right that you kind of set your routine on what joy can feel like. And as you said, that joy can kind of trigger that sense that, feel guilty in these early stages. I'm not supposed to feel joy yet.
Right.
So is this joy? Is this really, wait, maybe I'm not allowed to feel that kind of thing now. But then really, as you said, also, and you talked in your own experience, it makes you feel alive again when you can participate in finding that why.
Right.
And feeling alive again it can kind of feel like this loyalty to the person who is there with you all this time. And that doesn't feel great, but
it's true. Like think of all the ways we talked about in the previous episodes where it's like starting a process of moving date, going to date, going to see a funny comedy show, like all of these ways,
which happened to me. Yeah,
all of these different ways where you are experiencing joy, and all of them present themselves as guilt and disloyalty.
Yeah, and that growth feel a little discomforting.
Yeah,
But that is symbolizing maybe that growth is happening.
Yeah. And then I think another one of the themes is, start with what still moves you, right? It doesn't have to be these big things, right? Just pay attention to something that gives you even a little bit of spark. I talked about, going to work out, going to a comedy show, going to, a happy hour with some friends, right? Like these are all little things that are so simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be these major steps, right? Like just start with the small things. It's okay to be curious. Try something new. Try something different.
Make grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, make bread, right? Like get into something that you didn't do before.
Maybe you do the painting.
Yeah, maybe you do. Get into painting, right? Like try something different that's going to actually trigger and start the process. Like, again, the comfortable may feel uncomfortable. So that's fine. Like if you don't want to jump into that stuff.
Yeah.
The things that right? You like, this thing used to bring me joy. I don't know if I want to do it. Well, do something, right? And then, like you don't need a full vision, right? When people talk about passion or what you want to do, or like, it doesn't have to be this fully baked, storyline of it. It doesn't, it could be small, right? even with this podcast, like it started small for us. Like it started small with, man, like let's just connect and start talking.
Yeah.
Then it was, hey, maybe we do a small men's group or like whatever it just started. Like I think those little baby steps help again, but it's all moving. It's all in the process of kind of stepping forward.
You're right. Because that is how we did approach it.
Yeah.
I had joked about before, I was saying, we're more like Brothers Johnson, the 70s band. We practice our little songs. We play wherever, and if it's an audience of one, we're going to play our heart out for them. You'd like stadiums.
Right.
We wouldn't mind the
We
stadiums.
want the stadiums,
at
yeah.
some point, because then that also represents us helping so many more people.
Right.
So, but on the flip side of what you said just a moment ago is the pain can point towards your purpose. That's definitely what happened for us and for all of you that don't use that.
Yeah.
Don't bury that because it's tough. It's supposed to be. It's pain.
Yeah.
So it can point you to what hurts you deeply may help guide you to help others. Jamal did that for me. We do that within our family and our groups. And there are certain people who call on you and me.
Because they know what we've been through.
That's right. Or just we will listen more and we will talk most of the time.
Right.
So I try to listen a lot.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. But it's the idea of the shared experience creates a real, genuine, authentic impact with people. And then you see yourself moving along, yourself and others. And then your story becomes one of survival. And then you hear somebody else's sense of survival. And then they build their kind of guide and guideposts and setting those examples of, as you said, you don't have to have a full plan and you may fall short, but if you get a few of those things done, haven't you moved forward?
Well, I mean, if you think about that too, like how many people expect that you should be in this constant process of grieving and depression, so to speak, because you've lost. But the flip side of that is people should feel motivated when they see that you've been able to dig out of it.
Right.
Like there's an aspect of that you should be able to turn that page forward, and it should be motivating for people. I think another one is like your old life informs, right? It doesn't define you. It informs what you should be, who you should grow up to be, but shouldn't define what you're going to be, right? I think that's important. Again, like I lost, it's something that happened. It's not who I am. Right. How I am may be part of that as a result, but it doesn't define me. Right. And I think, you're allowed to evolve beyond that experience. We're allowed to evolve beyond the loss and beyond the grief and beyond the pain. It's okay to do that. Again, we always talk about it, and I always start the anchor, right? Like it's okay to honor the past without the anchor holding you down, right? Like you can move forward without that grief, and you can also find purpose without it being something where you feel like you're betraying your late spouse, your family, the memories. Like you're allowed to do that. Like those experiences are an experience, but it's not who you are in the future.
Yeah. Another point I want to throw out. We got a few more of these, or a dozen or so. Is this sense of structure creates stability.
Yeah.
We talked about routine in previous episodes, and that when you have that sense of certainty, that sense of routine, it rebuilds a sense of control. Oh, I'm able to knock these different tasks out during the day. I went and I worked out. I ate better. I helped out with children with this project, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think this sense of that routine can help with that. Certainly this sense of control, because that's what you felt you have lost, and you had no bearings because you didn't have that anchor in a good way with you.
Yeah.
Meaning that partner to kind of foundation, pouring of foundation maybe is a better way to kind of think about it. Because when you have this sense of discipline, it carries you in motivation is gone. When you have
Yeah.
set up this routine, when all else fails, you can go back to what is immediate gratification to a degree
Yeah.
of this sense of routine. So you said it a moment ago, said in another way, this idea of these small daily wins reintroduce what confidence looks like for you in your life.
And they are small wins, but think about how many times, I know for me, waking up Monday morning and I don't want to move. I didn't want to move, right?
I hear you.
Forget before, like nobody wants to move Monday morning. But when you've lost and you have to get up,
shoot,
you got to get these kids out, right?
Most mornings,
right?
It's tough.
You've got to get these kids out the door and off to school. You've got to get them motivated.
Yes.
Forget yourself, right? You got to take everybody and get everybody into the routine. And then you get to Friday and everybody's home and you don't want to do shit. But you could look back and be like, man, I got through the week.
Yeah. Especially early on.
We got us all through the week.
Especially early on after you lost.
I think the other part of that is isolation. You know, they say it's important to like make sure you're connecting with people. The isolation can kill your momentum.
Oh, for sure.
It's the hardest thing to do this by yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing I've learned is purpose is stronger and grows faster when you have a community. You find it faster. It seems more intentional when you have a community of people who are there to support you, or when your purpose and what you're doing is you're able to do it with somebody like you and I, like we're doing this together, right? You know, and you get to find rooms and places where your story and your experience is understood. It's hard to find people in this who always understand what you're going through, but they are out there. There's people who empathize, who may not even be talking about their experience. I think that's important, is to find those spaces and those places, or those people who you know who've gone through what you've gone through.
Right.
One, they're an example. If they're further into it, they're an example in some way or the other for you. And likewise, you can be an example and a motivator for them to continue. I think the other part, it helps to normalize it. It helps to normalize the process, because as you start talking about it, you realize, man, like a sanity check, man, like that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Right. It helps to truly bring context to like what you're going through is in most cases not significantly different than somebody else. Right. There's somebody else out there who's going through that with you.
Yeah. I mean, you're allowed to want more life.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. You're allowed to want the happiness. And you love that person less that you're with. So this is this other theme. And you're really expanding your life in a way that honors the person who was there, the love that you had, the relationship that you were trying to build, whether difficult or not, and it survived or would have survived or not.
Right.
If that partner had died in your situation, I'm thinking, and others. So survival is definitely that step one. And then living is step two.
Yeah.
Filling and fleshing out what that looks like.
And then redefining what fulfilled looks like now.
Right.
Right. Like you haven't fundamentally changed, but the accomplishments, the things that you're aspiring to do, the things that you want to do in life, those may have to be refined. They maybe have to be, kind of adjusted for better and positively or negatively. Like you kind of have to think about that. Like old dreams and things that you wanted to do, might want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. That might be delayed now, right? Or it might not. You might have to climb a lower mountain. Treacherous. Listen, it's if you're just a single parent and it's just you, less risks. I need to put that motorcycle down, right? Like,
back in the garage.
I know for me,
that battery.
I know for me, climbing on roofs and cleaning gutters, like that became terrifying because I was the backup.
Yeah,
there was no backup anymore, right? Like it was nobody if I fell off the ladder, there was nobody to run outside and yell at me and ask me what you're doing,
right?
And that now I don't do ladders, right?
The ladder.
But like I think you let the purpose evolve with the current season, and you evolve it. It continues to change. And again, like I said, fulfillment, it may be different. It may be quieter. It may be deeper, right? The things that bring you joy may change, and that's okay.
Yeah. Let's underscore the point earlier about the plan doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
But don't wait for clarity either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just you got to act upon it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. It's you got to do it.
Yeah.
You sometimes you can't really think through it all.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to adjust it.
Yeah.
That's just how this life is defined now.
Mm-hmm.
Try those things.
Yeah.
Fail a little bit. Fail small, to a degree, as small as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And adjust as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Because purpose is built through these lived experiences. And if they can't always be perfect.
Right.
That's what lived experience is where do I get up from whatever that small misstep or maybe not the best thought out conclusive decision.
Yeah.
And decision making at that time.
Yeah. And I think one thing, right, like you think about, kind of in purpose and the passions and how they connect to legacy,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, legacy can actually become fuel,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, how do you take these things that you want to bring forward from your late spouse or your late partner or your late family member? How do you bring that forward so that it presents itself?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it could be unspoken.
Yeah.
Like everything doesn't have to be this outright homage, but the behavior itself can be a homage.
That's right.
Right. And you have to think, like, what are the things that you believe mattered most to your spouse? What do you believe will matter most to your children if if that's part of your grieving process? And then making sure that in that you're building something that reflects these shared values that even in the not so perfect world, even in the not so perfect relationship, there were shared things that you had that were positive, that you enjoyed, that you were able to bring forward, that you still want to bring forward to your kids' lives, your family's lives, that you're like, hey, like, what? I liked that thing that we used to do on this particular holiday. Like, I'm going to incorporate that.
Yeah.
Right. And now you have a recollection and a story behind it, and it's meaningful in that context. And, I think this is an important one. Like, let love be a driver, not just a memory. Right. Like, at the end of the day, all of these experiences, all of this process was formed and founded by love, right? Like, the reason why it's difficult to get back up, but the reason why it's difficult to find the routine is because you're weighted down by this lingering love in many cases that you don't know how to process and you don't know how to take it to the next level. And I think that's an important kind of step in understanding that just because you feel this doesn't mean that it has to just kind of stay there. It can be something that helps you move toward the passion.
And I think especially when you're in a relationship that didn't ascend to the place that you had anticipated. Your original planning and the reason why you came together, it didn't necessarily get to that height that you had anticipated.
Yeah.
And then it's that moving forward, well, how's that going to look as I enter into another lived experience and life experience with someone else who I have a meaningful relationship with.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing to take from all of this, it's, this is a process. The purpose and the passion, it doesn't just show up, right? It's not like you're going to wake up one day and like, aha, I've got it.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's something that comes with time. And like you said, it's the small movements. It's the small movements. It's long conversations. There's no real aha moment.
Yeah. Right? You're building it.
Yeah.
Piece by piece. Choice by choice.
Yeah. I mean, and even if it's something that's not familiar, that may feel uncomfortable at first or unnatural, like it's there.
Yeah, and that discomfort is an indication potentially of growth. That's usually the signal.
Yeah.
That you are growing. That at least you're not stuck.
Yeah. And I think that's, I remember people saying things like, oh, yeah, you didn't do that before. You're different. You're the same person. You have a new motivation, maybe a new passion, but you're still, the same person back at the core.
It also shows you're carrying what mattered.
Yeah.
You're going to carry that forward with you as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from grief to growth and
from loss to living.
It's the work. It's a process.
Yeah, I think we think it's worth it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you again for joining us on Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death. We appreciate you joining us. Like us, subscribe.
It all.
The heart, the thumbs up, all the things.
Comments,
and hit us on the number if that's more comfortable and easier for you.
Yeah.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Definitely. And we want to do that comment and feedback episode again. We had a good time with that.
Yeah.
So keep those coming because that should be coming at some point soon down the road. So again, Jamal and I thank you so much for tuning in to us each week.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death. If something in today's episode spoke to you, pass it on because somebody out there needs to hear this.
For sure. We're on all the social mausoleums. So follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Mostly it will be in the form of Get Back Up Podcast.
And be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.
And remember, getting knocked down is part of life.
But getting back up is how we live.
We'll see y'all next time.